Hello, this is Catherine Marie, and I am back after the flare-up. I think that my brain is just now starting to feel normal again. And while we were here, while I was going through the flare-up, I was writing down things that I do during a flare-up, or things that one should or could do during a flare-up. And I'm going to put these in order and rate them and triage them, so to speak, so I can, for instance, there is one that says put childcare in place, let the dog out, make sure they have water and food, stuff like that, because you're about to go to bed and you want to make sure that everything looks okay around you and everything is kind of taken care of. So anyway, it's not in any particular order, but I wrote down some things that I recommend or things that I do, what I recommend to consider if you find it helpful for you. So first, cancel everything on the schedule. So as soon as I had the feelings of the fatigue hitting me really hard and my brain kind of grinding to a halt, I immediately reached out to people via email mostly and just canceled everything for that day and the next day. I easily could have canceled it for the week, but I think I only did the first 3 days of the week. Then the next thing I put is to let the dog out, make sure the food and water for the dog and cat are set up and their water fountain is full, and the cat has an automatic feeder, so I make sure that that's in place. And if my dog didn't have such a huge bowl that has the food that comes down from the clear top above it, if she didn't have that, I would probably have an automatic feeder for her as well. And if I didn't have people helping me here and there, like right now I have somebody helping me 2 mornings a week for 2 hours just during the time that I get my daughter ready for school, because I just need a little bit of backup just sometimes. I don't know how long we can afford to do it, but we're doing it right now. Okay. So the next thing that I circled is stop right away and rest. So even though you're kind of prepping for, okay, it's about to go down, then just don't do too much as far as prepping, and just get into bed and rest. I have a really hard time with that because I always feel like I'm grasping at normalcy, and when I feel my body and my brain start to go downhill, I start to panic a little bit, and I try to get things done before my brain loses its footing, so to speak, if brains had feet. So I have to work on that, to just kind of accept it and just kind of lean into it. When I have flare-ups, I drink 3 different things. I drink BioLyte, BIOLYTE. It is a drink that has a lot of electrolytes in it and only 45 calories per bottle. And it has a lot more electrolytes than most drinks do. It was formulated by an anesthesiologist who has a wife with chronic fatigue syndrome, I believe. Either that or I can't remember if it was chronic fatigue syndrome or if she was recovering from cancer, or chemotherapy, but he formulated this specifically for people like us, so I drink it. I think you can get it on Amazon, you can get it from their website directly, you can get it in pharmacies, it's pretty available. I try to drink a lot of water. I drink kombucha, which I love, and if you don't know what kombucha is, I did not know for many years, but kombucha is a fermented tea, and the reason why it's good is because it has the probiotics and it's helpful for your gut. The downside is that fermented things have a lot of histamine in them. So if you're worried about histamine, you don't want to drink kombucha. Okay, the next thing that I do is I put an ice wrap around my head. I have 2 ice wraps, and they have Velcro so that when I put them around, I can fasten it to its other side. And I walk around with my little headache hat on. And I also will put on a face mask to block out the light, because usually, no matter what, the window in my bedroom lets in a lot of light, so it's good to use the face mask. And then, what was the other thing? Oh, and then I'll put ear plugs in. I have these little purple foam ones. I don't think you need fancy ones, just little purple foam ones or whatever color foam ones. And it's really nice because even if you don't have long COVID and you just have small children or a very loud household and you feel overstimulated, I find it very helpful to put them in because you can still hear everything, but it's just not as loud. For instance, when I wear them at night, if I hear someone make noise while they're sleeping, I hear it, but I don't bolt awake and sit up, you know? I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Then I close and lock the front door. I make sure that the lights are out, at least where I'm going to be taking a nap. If I'm hungry, I will eat a bowl of cereal. It's a nice, light food that agrees with my tummy if I'm not feeling well. I also have to double check that I took my medication and supplements for the day, because sometimes if I start to feel bad, I think, oh wait, did I remember to take my medicine today? And I have it set up on my phone so that alarms go off on my phone at the times that I need to take them. But sometimes if I'm in the middle of something, I will forget, I'll turn it off, but then forget to do it. This happens a lot with small children in the house. Other things are, I will use my inhalers for the shortness of breath. I will take Motrin and or Tylenol for headache and inflammation. If I need food, as far as food, I'll have a lower threshold to order takeout, and if we have them around, more likely to use paper plates and cups, so that way I don't have to do dishes. And then, I think I already said this one, but putting childcare in place. Another one is to take a cold shower, because that does seem to help, especially cold water on your head. I will then put my CPAP on if I am sleeping. The CPAP is something that I'm still kind of getting used to. I was relatively recently diagnosed with new onset obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, and I was referred to the sleep clinic by the long COVID clinic at Stanford. And they referred me there because a lot of people with long COVID have new onset sleep apnea. And I've noticed on my iWatch that my SpO2 will drop pretty low sometimes when I'm sleeping, like my percent oxygen. So it gives me peace of mind to be able to wear the CPAP if I'm feeling symptomatic and I want to make sure that my body's getting enough oxygen. And then as far as physically what I do, I'll try to do some gentle stretches, yoga if I can. And then things I do, so at the beginning, you have to be in bed and do nothing. And then as you start to feel better, then you're in bed, but you're bored because your brain is starting to get better, but it's still too much to do anything. So at that point, TV is usually too much still because you're having to look at it and you're having to listen to it. So what I usually do is I'll turn off one of the senses. So either I'll watch TV with subtitles, or I will listen to the show in my earbuds and have my phone kind of propped up on the side if I really need to look at the scene. But usually if you know the show, you don't really need to see it. You can just hear it. So those are two little tricks that I use. And then you could also listen to podcasts, music. I will also, once I'm feeling a little bit better, I will start to crochet. I have woobles, which I love. I will have to talk about them in another episode, but I will do those in bed as well. So we went through all of the things that I usually do during a flare-up, just having come out of one. I hope you never have to use these ever, but if you do, just make sure you stop and rest right away and then take really, really good care of yourself. And that's all I've got for now. Anyway, thank you for listening. Take care, and we'll talk again soon.